Okay, so for this part of the video, I'm going to spend some time showing you guys how to actually draw your symmetrical bug so that we can get this done quickly and easily, okay? The first decision you're gonna have to make with your paper is, do I want to have a hamburger fold or a hot dog fold? If you do a hot dog fold, your bug will be longer and you won't have as much space for things like wings, okay? If you do a hamburger fold, then your bug can be a little bit shorter this way, but you have more space for things like wings, okay? So I actually want wings on my bug, so what I'm gonna do is line up those two edges over here, and once I think they're lined up, I hold that with my one hand, I take my other hand and sweep it across here until it folds, okay? Now, I don't wanna like push on this crease because I don't want it to be folded permanently whenever we're doing our painting, so don't push on it too hard. Okay, now you see how this side is folded, but this side over here opens up, okay? You are not going to draw on the open side. You're gonna draw on the folded side, okay? So now you are going to pick different shapes to draw for the different parts of the bug. And your bug is make-believe, so it's okay if it's not realistic. It's okay if you have some things that are different shapes than real bugs. This is totally make-believe, okay? You also do not have to put all the parts of the bug, but we need to put some of them so that it looks more realistic, okay? So I'm gonna start with the head, and I'm gonna draw it kind of close to the top, but I'm leaving some space for an antenna, okay? So I'm gonna pick my bug head shape, and I'm gonna draw only half of it, okay? Because in a moment, we're gonna trace the other half, okay? This next part is called the thorax. So I'm gonna make up that body part, okay? And this is totally made up, so it does not have to be like a real bug, okay? And then this bottom part is called the abdomen. And again, we only draw half of everything, okay? You also wanna make sure you don't make this space right here too skinny, because if you make it too skinny, then it's not going to end up having much width to it, okay? So you wanna make sure that you draw this far enough apart, okay? I'm gonna come up here and draw an eye and an antenna, okay? And I think I wanna put some wings on my bug because I have space for it. So I'm gonna draw myself some wings. And these do not have to be realistic looking because this is a make-believe bug. But notice how I'm using my space. I'm trying to fill up my space without making things too small. Okay, now my bug can also have legs. Bugs have, insects I guess I should say, have 6 legs. So I'm gonna draw myself 6 legs. Now, because I do have wings, it is a little bit harder for me to see the legs, and it's okay if they overlap. So if you have wings and you really don't wanna put the legs, it is okay if you choose to skip that part, okay? And the last thing we're gonna need to do, if you want, add some patterns to your parts. Okay, so I'm gonna add some stripes here on my wings. And then I think I might do some polka dots on my bug's body. So notice how part of it, I'm doing half of it right here because I'm gonna trace the other half in a minute, okay? Now, we've talked about patterns a whole lot on our projects this year in art. Okay, just like every other project, we need to make sure that our patterns are big and spaced apart, because if they are not, then later when we take time to trace this with this really cool black glue, you're going to be very angry at yourself because it's going to be really hard to trace those things, okay? All right, so my bug is finished. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use this super cool light board, okay? So I got these from a grant from PTO last year. They bought us some so that we can use them. So there's this button on the side that turns it off and on. So what we're gonna do is push it once and it turns it on. But the more you push it, and you can push it up to 5 times, it gets brighter. Now, we do have some rules with these. You only ever trace with a pencil on these. Once we move on to tracing with the glue, these boards get put back up. We do not want to use the glue on top of them. So what you're gonna do with your bug, you're gonna keep it folded, but we're gonna flip it over, okay? So what's cool is whenever you push down on the paper, what do you see? You see the bug, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to very carefully take my pencil and I'm going to trace the lines of my bug. Goes away. We are done with that part. And this final part before we get to paint is to trace our bugs with glue. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna take this cool glue. This is, oh, I'm sorry, I shook the entire table. I'm gonna take this glue and I'm going to shake it a little bit because it is, it's got glitter in it, but we wanna make sure that glue is all the way to the end of it, okay? When you first take it off, there might be a little bit of dry glue on there. Feel free to pick that off. It's super satisfying to peel off dry glue, so go for it. These little lids we found last year kind of got in our way, so I put little hair bands on these. You just take that lid and stick the hairband around it, and it's going to keep it out of your way, okay? So with glue, what you're gonna do, you're gonna shake it, but don't squeeze it until it is down to the tip of the glue, and we're going to draw with the glue, okay? I'm gonna take this glue, and I'm just going to squeeze very slightly. I don't wanna squeeze hard, and this glue comes out pretty easy, guys. Ah, did you see that? That glue just jumped right out of there. And I'm going to trace all of my pencil lines. All right, so your final step in finishing this piece of art is going to be to paint. So we have these semi-moist metallic watercolors. These are called pan watercolors, which just means that you will have to use a brush, because right now they're dry. You have to use a brush, dip it in water, load your brush up, kind of like we've done with tempera cakes before, and then paint, okay? These are super easy to use. The only thing that I ask is that you wash your brush really good in this bucket of water before you change colors, okay? So, let me show you how to do this. Make sure you guys can see these on here. Okay, so I'm gonna get my water on my brush, and I'm gonna start off with a color. Let's use this pretty pink. So I wanna load my brush up pretty good, so swirl it in here just a little bit until the tip of the brush turns the color of the paint. And then I can come in here and paint. And you will keep using that same load of paint until either it starts to look too light, like that's looking a little bit light to me, or until your brush starts to get dry. And then if it starts to get dry, then all you need to do is dip your brush back in the water and then load your brush again. So if I'm ready to switch colors, what I'm gonna do is take my brush and rub it really good on the bottom of my bucket. So then I can come in and load my brush up with a new color so that I can start painting with it. Okay, so I'll use this to paint maybe the eyes.